Hello there, welcome into this latest edition of the SAU Football Coaches Show. I'm Daniel Gallegos, joined alongside head football coach Bill Keopple. And Coach, week one has come and gone. It was a very successful week for you and the Mule Riders in terms of definitely picking up the victory, but also kind of, getting some of the unknowns behind you and at least seeing it on the field against some other competition rather than an inter-squad. And I know you've talked throughout the preseason and even from spring ball coming into fall camp about all the talent that you felt you had on this football team, and a lot of it was young talent, so a lot of things that you had to see on the field against other opponents. You got that chance against Southwestern Oklahoma last weekend. 28-24 was the win. A lot of those young players contributed to it, particularly Barrett Renner at quarterback.
Yeah, definitely we had a lot of questions to answer. We felt like we had a talented football team. I mean, when you got redshirt freshmen on your football team, been in your program for a year, and you feel like they're talented players, and they're out there on the field going against your upperclassmen that have been playing for you for 3 years, and they're having a lot of success against those guys. It was eye-opening going through spring practice for us. These guys are ready now, and I think some of it showed up Saturday night with it, with our defensive line play and the pressure we were able to put on their quarterback, because I mean he could throw the football. We knew that going in, and obviously they tried it, and whatever reason they thought they could test us deep, and they did. They went after it. They went after the deep ball against us quite a few times. A little bit different philosophy out of them than what they've had in the past, but they were definitely going to challenge us deep, and I guess they felt like their receivers were that caliber of players that they could take advantage of our corner play. But obviously they didn't know a whole lot about Quan Warren and Darren Crawford. That those guys are pretty good too. So I don't know. It was good to get to see our football team out on the field, and you practice against each other for 21 days, and man, you get tired of beating on each other, and it was time for us to have some questions answered about our football team. Obviously, Barrett was a big concern going in as to how he was going to react under the lights. I thought his first game, he probably made at least a B+ rating anyhow, and the fact that he didn't throw any interceptions might have gave him an A. But we did leave a lot of touchdowns out on the field that we got to clean up some things there, and. But all in all, it was very encouraging about our football team where we are at this point.
In years past, particularly the most, about the last 3 or 4 years, offense has kind of been at the forefront of your program, at least, in terms of stats, national rankings, and things like that. And the defense has kind of been, the other part of the team that maybe needed to step up a little bit. Mm-hmm. You've got some young players, like we said, and one of the things in this game against Southwestern, I think, showed out on third downs. I believe Southwestern only converted 5 out of 17 attempts. In a game to where you start a redshirt freshman quarterback and there's the unknowns on offense, at least going in, how important was that for your defense to go out there and several times, especially late, put up defensive stands to get the ball back to the offense?
I mean, that's huge. I mean, offensively, you're looking for turns, as many turns as you can possibly get in a football game. And, last year that was a little bit of our Achilles heel. I mean, we couldn't get the ball, we couldn't get off the field in situations defensively, and that really hurt us, and probably a very big contributing factor to our 5-5 record last year. You go back to our 2012 defensive football team, and we were as good as there was in our league, if not in this region. And there you are, 8-2, and that's a big difference when you really break it down to that. So it was big that our defense, really stepped it up. I think we have the potential to grow as a defense and be a very good defensive football team as the year goes on. Obviously, you got to continue to have guys that are going to work and work to get better each week with what they do, and really do their homework on their opponent and make sure they know their opponent going in.
We'll spin it forward to this upcoming weekend, week 2 of the season. Still obviously early on in the year. Making a long trip to Alva, Oklahoma to take on Northwestern Oklahoma. But if you look back at week 1 last week, Northwestern came to Monticello, so a little bit of a longer trip for them coming over here even further to Monticello. They got down 17-0 to the Boll Weevils and then wound up coming back and winning 52-31. I think at one point they scored 38 unanswered points from there. They threw it around a lot with the new spread offense and a new head coach, but also they were able to get some takeaways. So from what you guys have been able to see on film, getting ready for this weekend, what's the biggest threat you think Northwestern proposes this weekend? Is it their offense or is it their defense?
Well, it's obviously their offense right now. I mean, you know, for them to put up the yards and the numbers they did on the road at UAM, that says a lot for them and what they've done in just a short period of time with a new head coach there. Very impressive numbers. You know, you can say, well, UAM gave it away a bunch, and UAM did have a lot of turnovers and didn't help their cause in any form or fashion. But you know, teams can turn it over. You don't capitalize, it doesn't matter. So Northwest was able to capitalize. They were able to put the ball in the end zone against UAM and score a lot of points. That's very impressive. That definitely gets your attention. You know, anytime you make the trip to Alva. For any of us over here in Arkansas, that's a difficult trip, and you know, from accommodations, having to stay an hour and 20 minutes down the road at Enid to you know, just getting up there, making that trip 9 hours for us here, that's difficult. They made it last week. They made it positive for them going to UAM. You know, we're going up there. They're going to be dedicating their new press box. They've got new field turf. So there's a lot of positives in that program right now, and they're going to be on a high. And I expect the hometown Alva to be at the football game. So if we go in there and we're not prepared, you know, mentally and physically ready to play a football game, then they could present, you know, us a lot of problems, and that wouldn't be good for us.
We appreciate it very much for your time again. That's head football coach Bill Keopple. He and his mule riders set to go to Alva, Oklahoma, Northwestern Oklahoma, and take on the Rangers up there. It's a night game, 7 p.m. Be sure to check muleriderathletics.com for all your pre- and post-game coverage of that game. Coach, best of luck.
Thank you.